All right, all right. Hey, Vivalifers, it's Dr. Kelly OMD. I am here in Ask Dr. Kelly OMD Zoom room tonight with attorney Alexis Hart McDowell. We have known each other for several years. I still remember when I called her and asked her, do I need a prenup before I get married? And you know what she told me? Girl, you ain't got no money. But now I do, and she is the one that gives great advice, and she has made her moves into real estate investment, and we are so excited. Attorney Alexis, please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is truly a pleasure to be here. As Dr. Kelly mentioned, my name is Alexis Hart McDowell. I am a real estate attorney located in Chicago, Illinois. I am a real estate investor, and I am also a hard money lender. I own the company Epic Impact Investors, as you can see right there. And we are a Black-owned hard money lending company, and we loan here in Chicago. We also currently have a loan down in Atlanta as well. So we do loans on non-owner occupied or residential rehab properties. So that's who I am. I've been an attorney for 20 years, and real estate has truly been my passion, and helping people earn an income through real estate as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And she's wearing red tonight. I'm not sure if we have anything else in common, but we might just have some other things in common. So Alexis, do you want to tell us maybe the top 3 things that you want people to take away from this, and then delve right into them?
Absolutely. So the top 3 takeaways that I want you all to go away with are: number 1, all investment carries risk. And it seems obvious, but I have to tell that to people as an education point, because so many people hear things like, oh, well, they said it was no risk, or it was a guaranteed return. And anytime I hear those as an attorney, I want you to run the opposite direction, because when I hear it, I immediately think scam, misinformation. There are never any guaranteed returns in investing. And so all investment carries risk, and you have to go in to any investment. I don't care how safe, how conservative it is still not without risk. And once you get over that hurdle and understanding that, then you can make the wise decisions that you need to with regard to investing your money, okay? So I'll get into that a little bit more. Number 2, what I do is capital investing, right? It is truly a passive form of investing. What that means is that we simply put up the capital to renovate a project, to allow someone to renovate a residential real estate project, okay? So essentially, we're the bank, right? There's no reason why people with capital aren't able to loan and get a return on that money for business purpose loans, okay? And it's truly passive, meaning I'm not the landlord. Even though I do own rental property, we're not collecting the rents, knocking on the door. We're not working about fixing pipes. We're not worried about who's over, none of that. We simply, when the borrower makes their payment, we simply collect our interest, okay? So it's truly a passive form of investing. I also do a lot of educating around that, because a lot of people of color or otherwise, don't even know that this is an option for them when they want to consider investing in real estate. They think, oh my God, I got to flip houses, or oh my God, I got to be a landlord, or I have to do some multi-million-dollar commercial project. No, you can invest in smaller homes, smaller projects in your local area and get a return on that. So I definitely want people to know that. And the third takeaway, and probably the most endearing to me, is that you can have income and impact. They are not mutually exclusive. I know when people hear investing, they think money, money, money. We, of course, want a return. We're always pursuing a return, but we want a return that is also going to have impact in our communities. And with this type of investing, there's a vacant home on your block. It gets a developer comes in, gets a hard money loan. My investors have backed that loan. The house gets renovated. You have no longer had that eyesore on your block. It's back on the tax rolls, which means there's more money coming into the community. A family has moved in there. So now you're building the community with engagement and people as well. So it really hits a lot of sweet spots for me as an investor and as someone who truly cares about the community. That's why my title with Epic is Chief Community Investor, because it's not just about money for me, it's about investing in my community as well. So those are the top 3 takeaways that I want you all to know right off the bat.
And I absolutely love those, because I feel like I have been with you on every step of that journey. And I am so happy and excited that I have, we've developed a relationship over a long time. I've invested with you and it has had returns. So I'm very excited about that. But the first thing you told me, even as a colleague and a friend, this is risk. So, and I love the fact that you call yourself a chief community investor, because you also have a nonprofit, and that's exactly what we're doing with the nonprofit. So, working together on things like this, where we can really change the landscape of our underserved and underserviced communities without necessarily kicking those people out who really have, had roots there, so that they can learn how to stay in the and teach them how to take care of their homes and get the money for their homes so that they can be owners and not just renters. So go ahead. You said you had 3 things and you're going to delve in a little bit more. Go ahead, girl.
Yes. All right. So back to number 1, all investment carries risk. Now, we do consider private lending. That's what we consider private lending, hard money loans. We do consider it a conservative to moderate risk. Why? Because we do our own underwriting. Those of you all who own your homes, you've been through the underwriting process when you got your mortgage from the bank, right? We do the exact same thing. However, our criteria is a bit different. We're not always looking at your credit score or your stability of income, right? When you're doing a renovation project, a rehab as a commercial developer, we're looking at 1, your track record, right? We want to know that you've finished projects in the past, that you've repaid other hard money loans. We want to know the viability of the project itself, right? We want to know that, hey, you're going to go in, purchase this for a decent price. You're going to make, $100,000 worth of renovations, but the ARV, or the after repair value, substantiates that, right? Like it's going to sell for $400,000, $500,000, right? We need to make sure that that is the case. So we look more to the property and your capacity, meaning your experience and your ability to get out of the loan, than we do at your particular credit score, or like I said, your how long you've been on your particular job. All right. So while it does carry risk, we underwrite that risk in various ways. One of the ways is we only loan up to 65% of the loan to value, right? Of the ARV. We only loan up to 65%. So say, for example, the after repair value of a house was $100,000. The maximum amount of loan that you would be able to get from us was $65,000. Okay. That's a simplified example because I'm just trying to keep the number simple, right? And the reason why is because as a developer, a lender is always going to require you to have skin in the game. They don't want you just to up and walk away from a project just because it got hard, you hit a bump in the road, the municipality is giving you a headache with permits, whatever it is, right? They're always going to require that you have skin in the game. Additionally, another way that we conservatively underwrite is that 35% difference. Remember, if it's 100% is 100,000, we only loan up to 65%, is if you default, the borrower defaults on the loan, that wiggle room allows us some space to still have equity in that property if we have to pursue foreclosure, right? That's going to take some additional time, but because we didn't lose all of our money by loaning $100,000 on a $100,000 project, we have some wiggle room in there as well, okay? So that's another way that we help hedge our bets, or I should say, mitigate the risk that we encounter when we give loans, right? So we also, another way is that we can collateralize property. We cross-collateralize property. A lot of people who are experienced developers have other properties they may own free and clear. Well, we'll take a lien, a mortgage on that particular property to ensure that the loan that they're taking out can get paid off, right? So that we can foreclose on that other property, we get that full amount, we can pay that loan off. And typically they're going to do any and everything they can not to lose that property because it is free and clear. And if they have cross collateralized it, it means that there is more than enough money in equity in that particular property. Okay. So those are just a few of the ways that we evaluate a loan, a loan request that comes in. I kind of summarize it with the 3 Ps. It's the person, the property, and the profits, right? We don't want to loan you, let's say, $65,000 or $100,000, and the after repair value is like 115,000. Well, that doesn't work for us because that margin is just way too small, right? So we want to make sure that that ARV has enough room in it because we do a lot of forecasting, right? Nobody could forecast that a global pandemic would set real estate on fire and you would see the highest prices ever from people who could no longer go into an office, right? But that's exactly what happened. And after that pandemic, but we also had a shortage on supplies and materials and construction materials, and those prices skyrocketed as well. So it was taking longer for people to complete projects, and the amount for which their expenses were higher as well. So we do a lot of forecasting. As you all know, a forecast is just what? An educated guess. So
I like that person, property, and profits. And during the pandemic, since I'm going to add another piece to that, patience, because it's very key, because as you know, construction projects rarely end on time. And although most of them finish, it's rarely on time. So that patience is very, very important.
Yes. And let me piggyback on that for a minute, because I just had a property sale. If you all go to my Instagram, Epic Impact Investors or Enterprise _ Esquire, you'll see that one of our investment properties literally just sold on June 7th. Okay. This is one of those investment properties that was done in the pandemic. We did this property in 2021. But again, the delays, municipalities. So for example, when I talk about a municipality delay, some things here in Chicago, and it was the same in cities across the country, right? Developers had to walk in the office for, right? They had to walk in to do certain things, file certain things. Not everything was automated, streamlined, or even online, right? Sometimes you would have to go get the form, fill it out, email it in. Well, one of the good things that came out of the pandemic was all of this online and digitization things that municipalities started to do, because their people weren't in the office, but they still had to get some of this business done. But in 2021, early 2021, we did this loan. The municipality wasn't up to speed just yet. So a lot of stuff was delayed. So even though it was a 12-month term, it went all the way to June of 2023. And my investors on that, they were weary, but they were patient. And I also had to make sure and monitor that they were progressing along in that project the entire time, which I did, which is why we got to the closing table. My investors got their full capital back, and then they got about 34% return on that because it was so long. So their patience absolutely paid off in that regard.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think what you're saying about communication, as with anything, closed loop communication, constant over communicate, it's very important, because when you do that, it makes a huge difference in the amount of patience that people have. So that is so true. So we talked about investment as a risk, some of the capital investments. Like, how much money are you saying do you recommend people when they're working with you? How much money are you thinking they are going to submit or invest?
So my minimum right now is about $50,000. I did start lower than that because I was trying to lower the barrier to entry, because a lot of people of color and marginalized communities, they do have money to invest. They just don't have $100,000, $150,000 just laying around, right? But what I learned is that I have to put so many people on a loan just to fund the loan. So if someone comes to me for a $150,000 loan, I've got to put 15 people with $10,000 on that loan. Well, that's a lot to manage. And that's a lot of communication that I have to do on the back end, right? So I recently increased it to 50,000. I do have one or two investors who do $25,000. They're repeat investors with me. But I did that because it lowers the administration on my end by bringing the amount of people down on a particular loan. And then I can also get loans funded faster. Now, that doesn't mean that people are X'd out, right? It just means that people have to partner up. If you have 10,000 and I got 10,000 and we get two other people, three other people, you know, we can put that $50,000 in as one, right? And then I'll send it out as your return out as one, but you all split it the way that you all are going to split it. So it just means people have to partner up. But that was a lesson learned. Honestly, that was a lesson learned.
So yeah, that is a learning lesson. And, you know, in any business, we're going to learn. I mean, any profession, we're going to learn as we go. And that's so important, just to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, this is what I can handle in my own business. And this is what I can do on the back end. The other thing is garnering trust. I know a lot of people talk about creating investment groups and things like that, but there's a lack of trust in that because people are wondering, okay, really going to put this money in, and when it comes back, are you really going to give my money back? So that's something that we have to learn as a group of people, to learn how to trust each other and go in and know that, you know what, this is a risky investment. And I will be honest, the investments that I've made with you have not been risky to me, but I am a high risk person, high risk.
Right.
But for other people, it could be. So I think that's really important. And then the third one, you said income and impact. I think that's really important, especially because we have so many, what I like to call underserviced neighborhoods. And there's so much that we can do with our finances besides just spending them wildly and not being in control. So why don't you touch on that?
Yeah. So, God, there's so much I can say about that because it is so near and dear to my heart. So I always have to take a pause, right? How I got started in it, as you all know, I'm a real estate attorney. And so I represent various developers here in Chicago, and a lot of their issues were access to capital. I think when you go to a lot of any field, a lot of African Americans and people of color will say access to capital. We don't get equal access to the capital. And that's absolutely true. There's reports, substantiating that, right? But one of the ways in which we can be a solution to that problem is for us to come together and put our money where the problem is, right? We can be a solution amongst ourselves. Being a hard money lender is not new. You find hard money lenders across the entire United States. All right. It's nothing new. I'd like to tell people, I don't think there's a white man on the golf course today who doesn't have some portion of their money invested in a hard money loan through a hard money lender, right? Because it's just part of diverse portfolio. I also feel like because we can be part of that solution, we can help build our own communities as well. One thing that I absolutely noticed being a real estate attorney, these loans, the lenders come from outside your community. They come from Florida, they come from Texas, they come from the East Coast, right? And when we had the issue with George Floyd, a lot of things were, there were some riots going on, some protests going on, and lenders would just completely write off portions of the city based on zip code. And I live here and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that zip code over there. Like, I drove down the street, I did a Facebook Live with my children in the car on where the looting was and explaining to them what happened. But when you have outside people dictating the worth and the value of your communities, that's where we end up with problems, right? But if you live in a community, if you're from a community, you understand that value and that worth, then you should have no problems investing in that community, and it's going to be a good return for you. And so far, I haven't been proven wrong on that. So this is what I call, my income and impact. So of course, if you're investing, your number one thing is you want to be profitable. You want a return on your investment. 100% stand by that. I understand that. I'm an investor as well. You want a profitable investment, right? A stable return. You want something that's reliable. Well, real estate is one of the most reliable things. Why? Because we have what's called comparables. You all know your neighborhoods. You can be like, oh, that house sold for that because they got a new kitchen, or they put a new yard in, or they put a pool in. We all think we're, semi-professional real estate agents in our own neighborhood, right? So because we have a huge database, the MLS, of comparable properties, we can kind of get a really good idea of what people are going to buy this house for, right? Whether there's no renovation or whether there's some renovation. So real estate is reliable because we have a database of information to rely on. The income is also passive, as I said at the top, at the very beginning, right? You're not a landlord. This is, here's my 25, here's my 50, here's my $100,000, and I get a return, right? That's what it is. That's how passive it is. You get your capital back when the property sells, right? So let's talk about impact. For impact, it's housing, right? You creating a viable housing options through the rehabilitation of dilapidated properties, okay? Job creation. We have a lot of returning citizens, formerly known as ex-offenders, who can come in and get job skills, job training, right? High schoolers, not the trades are fantastic, as we can see from post-COVID, right? Not college is not meant for everybody. Some people want to do the trades, right? You can create construction and related real estate employment opportunities in the community as well. And then we talk about community revitalization. You can have increased businesses because you've got more people in the community that can sustain that business. Amenities and services come as you have more people in the neighborhood, as the growth of in the neighborhoods happen. All of that is contributed to impact, contributed to you investing in a renovation project, right? And then I love my circle of capital over here. Now, the circle of capital, I call this building black wealth, right? Because it's a full circle moment, you all. If you're an investor and you're a person of color, right? We start at the top with you right here. And then you invest money in Epic. We're going to give that money to a flipper, or also known as a developer. They're going to renovate that project. They're going to give money to a contractor, whether it's for plumbing or floors or bathrooms, right? Tile, whatever it is, right? They're going to get skills and education because they'll typically have someone that they're training on site, right? Or pull someone in from one of the community programs, right? That house is going to get sold to a homeowner, right? So now you've got people coming back, investing in the community, and then community investment, because that home is going to go back on the tax rolls, which means that now more money should be coming into that community to help that community with schools, resources, other amenities. So there is a circle to this, and we can be a part of this circle. I feel as though so many people of color, we do have money to invest. One, we are just very, very nervous about investing to the point of being fearful because we work so hard for our money that we're nervous about losing it, right? Which is why I always have to start the conversation with all investment carries risk, but you have to know the type of risk that you can carry as a person and the type of investment that you're getting in and how they're mitigating that risk. So I just shared with you, a few ways that we mitigate risk for our investors. It does not eliminate risk. It only mitigates it. So the income and the impact portion is so important to me. And as you all can see from that diagram, that's how I envision it. And that's how I see it going.
I absolutely love that diagram and the way that you broke it down. I mean, the fact that you can not only increase housing, you're increasing jobs, you're giving people skills and education. Everybody is winning from this formula, from this circle of investment. So thank you so much for showing that diagram. I think that was money right there. So that being said, first of all, yeah, I was just about to say, Alexis, how do they get in touch with you? Because we need to know.
My company name is epicimpactinvestors.com. You can go there. I've got some freebies for you all to download there. When you go to the website, you can simply click on resources. I've got a free download that goes into more information. I am very much about education. As an attorney, I pride myself in educating my clients, right? So I have some free downloads for you all so that you can read up on what is a hard money lender, what is a private investor, what do we do? How do we do it? How do we evaluate things, right? So you can download that, get some reading, get some additional education. I also have, you can book an appointment if you want to speak to me. I highly recommend that. If you want to have a private conversation, I'd like to invest. What do you think about this? I welcome all of that. I have all types of conversations with people. I do have a systematized process. And I welcome you all. I welcome you all to consider this as a type of investment opportunity for you all.
And what she didn't mention is she also has a book.
I do. For those who are interested in flipping homes, some of you all are interested in that as well. I have a book called A Solid Foundation. You can purchase that on my website as well. I also have Buildings in Business, which is my global online educational platform for all things buildings, which is real estate, and business, which is entrepreneurship. And I have courses on Hard Money 101 for people who are looking to get hard money loans and can't figure out how to get one. I've got a course on that. I've got a course on international real estate investing. I've got a bunch of different things available for people.
And she also has a YouTube channel for which she just did an interview on international investing, and it has 5,000 views in like less than a week. So I'm just letting y'all know she is, this is all we have time for. So that means I gotta ask attorney Alexis Hart Mcdowell to come back because she has so much more to teach us and tell us. But once again, how do we get in touch with you, attorney Alexis?
You can reach out to me with my website, epicimpactinvestors.com. That's the best way. You can book a call, or you can definitely download the free resources I have for you there. Just go to resources, put your information in, and get your free downloads.
Awesome. And as you know, I'm Dr. Kelly, OMD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive that's here to help you Vivalife spiritually, physically, mentally, financially, and emotionally. And that is to help you live your healthiest and wealthiest life. So when asking, why does Dr. Kelly OMD have somebody on here about real estate investing? Because that's the F in finances. And we make sure that you remain wealthy. I can be reached at drkellyomd.com as well as on IG. Please join us. Keep us on your Rolodex, virtual, of course, because every Monday night at 7:30 p.m., we will be bringing the best to you to talk about one of those 5 pillars. Have a wonderful evening, and don't forget to do what? Vivalife. All right. Thank you for being a part of the Vivalife experience. I'm Dr. Kelly OMD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive. If you like what you heard, then please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. The reason why is because we are trying to educate, encourage, and inspire 1 million people to live their healthiest and wealthiest life. And this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you educational videos. We're bringing you podcasts. We are bringing you webinars with subject matter experts, including myself, about the topics that affect you the most. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. We are everywhere. Have a wonderful day. Vivalife.